Welcome to my very first Stranger Things Season 2 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you weren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching Stranger Things, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, if you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, thus far, I've watched every single episode and season that's come out of Stranger Things. Looking forward to Season 5 of Stranger Things whenever that decides to come out. I'm hearing November of 2025. That has yet to be confirmed, though. I'm guessing what they'll do when it finally comes out is they'll take a little bit of a break during the episodes and then fall into 2026. But Stranger Things, regardless of how long it takes Season 5 to come out, it's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I would say somewhere in the top 10 to top 15. I'm not quite sure where it lands at the moment, but doing this rewatch of all the episodes of Stranger Things will help me determine where it places on my all-time favorite TV shows of all time ranking. But looking forward to Season 5. It's a really good show, and I wanted to rewatch it and let it resonate and get all these review videos uploaded before the new season comes out. So with all that said, this will be Stranger Things Season 2, Episode 1, the Season 2 premiere. The title of this episode is called MADMAX, and this will be my review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. So we start with a group of masked individuals. They flee an apartment building in a van as police pursue them. And then as the police do pursue them towards a tunnel, the lead squad driver sees the tunnel collapse in front of them and swerves to stop, blocking the rest off. When it gets out of the car, he realizes he imagined it. As the van drives away, a girl identified as Callie wipes blood streaming from her nose on her sleeve, revealing the number 8 tattooed on her forearm. Now, this will come into play later in the season, but we have these group of people that had the same, numbers like 11 did. And then we go back to our characters that we know. Mike, Dustin, and Lucas all pool their change. Mike's haul, of course, stolen from Nancy, and meet Will at the Palace Arcade, where his mother Joyce is shown expressing overprotection of him since what happened to Will in Season 1. The boys watch Dustin play Dragon's Lair and be killed by the dragon before he can grab the magic sword needed to slay it. Lucas, professing his superiority at the game and love of the game's Princess Daphne, arcade employee Keith informs Dustin that his Centipede and Dig Dug high scores have been beaten, and Dustin confirms this when he sees someone else named MADMAX now holds the highest Dig Dug score by 100,000 points. Keith offers to inform on their identity if Mike can set him up on a date with Nancy, which Mike is vehemently opposed to, but Dustin and Lucas are all for it because they want to know who has the new high score. As they argue, Will notices what appears to be snow falling outside and finds everyone in the arcade gone. The setting flashes to the upside down, and Will steps outside to see storm clouds approaching, flashing red lightning. He is snapped out of it by Mike, who has not noticed anything different. Hopper is approached by an ex-journalist, conspiracy theorist Murray Bauman, who has questions about 11, hearing reports of her being a Russian experiment with abilities, references a story of her shattering a glass door with her mind, and a report of her living in the Wheeler's basement. Wanting to find out what actually happened to Barb Holland, he tells Hopper his theory that Barb came across 11 but was taken by 11's Russian handlers. Hopper dismisses him and goes to work on another case. Nancy revives Steve Harrington's college essay, and they discuss the future of their relationship post-graduation as two new students. A high school boy and a middle school girl arrive in the same car, the former being by the girl's head. He walks by. So the girls that are impressed with this character that walks by. And then we have Will finds a defaced clipping of an article about his mysterious reappearance on top of his locker with Zombie Boy written on it. In class, our great Scott Clark, the teacher, discusses the complexity of the human brain before the skateboarder enters the class, introduced as Maxine Max Mayfield. As Maxine sits down in the back of the class, the boys stare at her, making the connection between her nickname and MADMAX. Joyce is visited at work by her new boyfriend, who's a Radio Shack worker named Bob, becoming intimate in the back room of her job and confirming their plans for a movie night. Hopper arrives at Merrill Wright's pumpkin patch, who believes his crop's sudden rot to be the work of his neighbor, despite having no evidence. Hopper hears something in the nearby cornfield, but turns out to be just a crow. Nancy receives 2 invitations to a Halloween party and gives one to Jonathan Byers, wanting him to come out of his shell because he doesn't do a lot. He refuses, and they are interrupted by Steve, who shares a public moment of affection with Nancy, during which Jonathan walks off quietly. Watching Max on the blacktop, Lucas and Dustin believe she is indeed MADMAX, while Will and Mike do not. As she heads inside, she writes a note and drops it in the trash can. The boys fish it out, and only to find that it reads, "Stop spying on me, creeps." Will is called away for a regularly scheduled appointment, and his friends watch him go, Mike noting that he is quieter than usual. Will, Joyce, and Hopper, who Hopper's now posting as Will's father, meet with Sam Owens, Dr. Owens, who is, of course, on Mad About You, for some routine medical tests. After getting weighed, measured blood work and blood pressure done, he is hooked up to a machine that measures his brainwaves while he describes his episodes from the day before and is unknowingly monitored by the lab staff. The more he describes it, the more intense his neurological activity becomes. He describes feeling an evil presence that wanted to kill everyone but him. And then Owens talked to Joyce and Hopper privately about the anniversary effect, in which victims of trauma often undergo temporarily personality changes around the anniversary of their incident. Owens recommends to continue treating him normally. Joyce later tells Hopper she dislikes Owens, but he insists that she trust him. He states that he is happy she is comfortable in her relationship with Bob, but reminds her to call him immediately if things go south. Owens watches Hopper leave before overseeing a lab worker attempt to incinerate the gate in the still quarantined lower level of the Hawkins lab. Dustin and Lucas watch Max be dropped off by the high schooler, the two loudly arguing before he drives off. Watching her skillfully playing of Dig Dug, they confirm she is indeed Max. As punishment for stealing from Nancy, Mike is being forced to give up 2 full boxes of toys in a yard sale. Karen notes his recent behavioral problems. Mike boxes up his toys in the basement, keeping the ones he attaches memories of 11 to. He sits in her still-preserved blanket fort and tries to contact her on his supercom for the 352nd consecutive day, I should say, since her disappearance, to no avail. He hears her voice say his name over the speaker, only to be cut off by Dustin revealing their discovery, which is he is not interested in. Nancy and Steve have their weekly dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Holland, who are selling the house to pay Bauman for his investigation of their daughter. Quietly distraught, Nancy excuses herself to the bathroom and weeps as she thinks about her and Barb's last words. Dustin returns home and hears banging and animal noises on his front porch, dismissing it as his cat. His trash can rattles as he leaves. Jonathan finds Will in his room, drawing a zombie boy version of himself. Will expresses anger at his friends and mother, treating him like he is too fragile to do anything and that it makes him feel like a freak. Jonathan professes that he would rather be friends with a zombie boy than somebody boring. While Bob and Joyce watch a movie together, the phone rings and Joyce gets impulsive anxiety from it until Bob calms her. Later that night, the lab's machinery goes haywire. Will gets up to use the bathroom and hears a noise outside, opening the front door to see the Upside Down. The storm clouds from before are in full effect now, the lightning illuminating a large spider-like creature looming overhead, causing the skin on the back of Will's neck to flare up. Hopper avoids a tripwire set up in the woods to reach a cabin, the door unlocking itself when he knocks on it with a specific pattern. He sees an Eggo on the dinner table and reminds an unseen party to eat dinner first as per their rules. As the party reprimands him for being late, they sit down and reveals themselves to be 11, and then the two eat dinner together. So 11 is alive and well, but just hanging out with Hopper now and not hanging out with Mike, Dustin, or Lucas, or Will, or Joyce for that matter. So I'll give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. There was nothing really special in this episode. It's the premiere of season 2, so they don't start off crazy. As far as my character of the episode, I would go with either Jonathan or Will Byers. Not anybody really had a standout moment, but I like the scene between Jonathan and Will, where Jonathan's like, I'd rather hang out with you than anybody else. But we all know that Jonathan is just weird and doesn't really like people aside from Will anyway. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Stranger Things and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share this video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Stranger Things. What would you rate it, and who would be your character of the episode, and anything else that you want to add in the comment section. Make sure you come back to this channel for my Stranger Things Season 5 reviews whenever they happen. It's unfortunate that most of the season will be released at one time, or at least half of it. So I'll do reviews as I can. I'd rather have a weekly format where I can, focus on a review and get it done usually that night. But it might be a few days. We shall see. And remember, I cover a lot of stuff on this channel. So if you're a fan of Dexter, The Walking Dead, Dead City, anything Walking Dead related, or UFC fight reactions, I definitely cover all that stuff, and you should subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100,000 subscribers. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.